paradigm of absolute control. And that's why we're just out here doing simple things, pointing out that we're meant to be in nature and be natural. And this is where we find the source that God made to transcend the New World Order. And that's why they want to try to keep us out of it.
I'm angry. I've had enough of these people. They're a bunch of Christian murderers scum. They're on giant death factories keeping babies alive and selling their body parts. What more do you need to know about these people? I go out and face these scum. They literally crawl out from under rocks. They have green looking skin and they run around screaming, we love Satan, we wanna eat babies. I have them on video. Hillary's in the creepy weird sick stuff, man. She sleeps in the same room with that creepy weird woman whose mother wears a hood over her head. What the hell? That woman number one is ugly. Imagine how bad she smells, man. I'm told her and Obama just stink. Obama and Hillary both smell like sulfur. Here to rule vampire pot and the goblins are hobbling round coming after us. My spirit gets close to that evil and I feel it go. We're such self-centered crap. We don't even notice hell itself rising up against us. Millions of pointed people of the very worst type, and I'm so pissed. We're gonna stab your daughter at the mall. We're gonna stab your wife, your son. We're gonna stab you with a butcher knife, and then the police chief is gonna say, we love our Somalis, we love our Muslims. Oh, they're so good, oh, they're so sweet.
Good evening, my friends. Happy Friday for the second time. I hope everybody's doing well. Oh my goodness. I mean, today was pretty wild, was it not? I mean, it was kind of crazy. It was a little
Oh, here we go.
I think we got a super cat. Super cat. I think we got a super cat. Super cat. Super cat. Super cat. I think we got a super cat.
How dare you?
Thank you so much. Period. Full stop. It's rare for intelligence and drive to intersect in one person. When they do, look out. At Naval equals Karen Reed Defense. Yes, agreed. And Marissa Salvatore, member for 8 months. Wow, thank you. It's been a while. Happy birthday, Cherry. It's always Cherry's birthday. Yeah, man. So first off, I want to thank everybody who's here now that or will be catching the replay who joined me live today. Again, I know there was a lot of great channels, man, that were covering this today. So it was really cool that you guys chose this channel to hang out and watch. Because there's just those select few that are blessed with greatness who actually enjoy obnoxious sound effects and annoying commentary being talked over the important people. Oh, you guys, that's just a side of genius, y'all. That's all that is, man. It's a side of genius. Y'all stand out. You are the minority because you are intellectual mutants. In a good way, like, you know, in the Marvel Comics kind of way, not in the fucking 80s horror movie kind of way. Anyway, you guys are great, man. So I see Scott McGinnis is up in here. I see who else is in here? Street Squirrel's in here, my man. Este's here. Este was all up on that hearing today, man. Like, I think I was sitting in the same damn spot she was, but I wasn't that noticeable. I wasn't. Like, I seriously doubt that anybody who is like streaming that hearing, anybody who was streaming that hearing, there wasn't like the whole chat going, "Oh my God, look, it's the glare! It's the glare! Look at him right there." But Esty, I mean, she stuck out. She stuck out, man. So, and we've got let's see who else we got. We got Christy Leisman, Mama Bear, Kirk 71. I'm just randomly naming familiar Danny Thomas familiar handles. Because I'm really grateful to you guys, man. So oh yeah, really? Spacey Stacy? Glera! I just wanted to do that one more time. So I ran across this today. Now, I don't know if we're going to stream the whole damn thing. I don't even think we're really going to stream it. We're just going to talk about it, go over a couple of things. This isn't really going to be a long live stream, and I'm probably going to open the phone lines. Most likely, I'm going to open the phone lines. So I thought this, I mean, how are you not? Now, real quick, though, I got to say, stop whatever it is that you're doing right now, click on this link right here and give it a like. Add it to your library. Make sure you check it out. LV Cops, my friends, your friends, they have dropped a new video on Trooper Guarino. And I'm really interested in seeing what these guys have to say. But I'm not going to stream it today. But make sure to click on that link. Stop whatever you're doing right now. Click on that link. Give that video a like. And then save it to your history. Make sure that you can go watch it later on. Or stop watching me right now and go watch it right now. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? So now that is out of the way, I want to show this real quick because this was just really, really funny. This was just brilliant. Because listen, when you're right, you're right. You know, like I'm a big enough person to to put a notch on the board for the trolls, for the anti-free Karen Reed people. We found some footage. Of Hank Brennan absolutely destroying a witness on the stand. Yes, Hank Brennan, the mob goon lawyer, special prosecutor hired by Michael Morrissey in order to railroad Karen Reed. And he's scary. Okay? I want you guys to understand he's scary. This is not someone to be trifled with. Okay? Now, before I start this video, I want you guys to stop what you're doing. Click on this link, different link. Click on this link. Give it a like. Make sure to do that. Okay? Because I'm just trying to tell you people, Hank Brennan is a force to be reckoned with. Okay? If Hank Brennan is prosecuting your case, you just may end up incarcerated for life in a high security prison facility. It just might happen, people. It could happen. What the? Oh my God. Here we go. All right. Here we go. Hank Brennan kills it here.
May I?
Yes.
You didn't really have the experience in car accidents to decide whether a car accident was the cause of these injuries, did you?
Correct.
Have you
What I'm
ever
trying to
been
say.
trained as an accident reconstructionist?
See, microdots, when you're a genius, you have to concede from time to time. You have to be able to admit that you're right. Okay? When you possess the mental and intellectual skills that possess microdots does not possess these skills. These skills possess him. Okay? These skills possess Richie Microdots. He has no control. These things just happen. He's just going to dump the right shit all over your face on YouTube every single fucking time. Okay? And so Microdots is conceding right here. Here's Hank Brennan destroying this witness on the stand.
Yes, we had to go over the physics part of it.
That's not what I asked. What I asked you is you have been
Get him,
trained
Brennan.
as an accident reconstructionist.
No.
And you've never gone into court and testified as an accident reconstruction expert before this case. Yes?
No, I didn't.
So there's no science or standard when you say car accidents would have had a certain result. The truth is you don't know.
Break this down. Ask
Yes, please.
simple questions so that the witness can answer your
Simple
questions.
questions, Brennan.
I'm
Hello.
asking you about detail, fact, science, okay?
Details,
Did you
facts,
consider the
science,
body position
Trooper
of John
Paul.
O'Keefe? I'm asking you, do you have any idea the position of John O'Keefe's body when he allegedly was struck by the car? Tell me the facts you have. Tell me the facts you have so you can tell us how is his body postured on fact. What facts do you have?
May I look at my report real quick? Just to make sure.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, got him.
All right.
What you gonna do now, Trooper Paul?
So throughout my
Now
investigation,
that Hank Brennan's got you.
this appeared to be a single car collision involving a pedestrian. The vehicle was traveling at a higher acceleration when.
Oh my God.
Sorry. The accelerated.
Listen. Now, this is a reaction video because I watched about 30 seconds of this and I was like, I'm going over this. I'm reacting to this live. But I have to point out, and let me put that banner up one more time here because it's necessary. Listen, I don't want to imagine covering this shit show in a world where microdots does not exist. I don't want to even imagine it. It is the ultimate fucking blessing, bro. Is having access to this guy's fucking brain. Because this shit is fucking hilarious, dude. Having access to this guy's skills, bro, like, is just, you're if you take this for granted for one moment while you're following this case, you are a fool. You're an absolute fool.
At a high rate of speed before she struck the pedestrian John O'Keefe on the roadway and subsequently left him at the scene.
Because some people out there in our nation don't have maps, and I believe that our education, like such as in South Africa and the Iraq, everywhere like such as.
Do you know whether or not the person, John O'Keefe, had these abrasions on his arm? Do you know if that person used his arm in any way to defend himself from an oncoming vehicle? You have no idea his body position or angle, correct?
That data point in general was consistent with something that you would see within data of a pedestrian striker striking something else. I do go on my report saying I can't say that's definitely where a pedestrian was struck. It wasn't definitely.
I believe that they should, our education over here in the U.S. should help the U.S. or should help South Africa and should help the Iraq and the Asian countries.
Sorry, in my report, I do say I can't say that is definitively where the pedestrian struck. Definitively, yes.
Okay. So you're going to have to slow down.
What word are you trying to say? I'm trying to say, Your Honor, definitely. Are you deaf? I definitely just said the word definitely. Do you not speak English, Auntie Bev?
And speak up, okay?
I gotta hear that
Should
shit one
help the
more
Iraq
time.
and the Asian countries.
Sorry, in my report, I do say I can't say that is definitively where the pedestrian struck. Definitively, yes.
Okay. So you're going to have to slow down and speak up.
You're gonna have to slow down. Auntie Bev is giving him speech lessons right now, bro. Fucking Auntie Bev is. What word are you trying to say right now, Trooper Paul? Is something funny, Miss Reed? What word are you? Okay, you're gonna have to enunciate, Trooper Paul. Okay, I need you to use your big boy words. Trooper Paul, I need you to use your big boy. Okay, slow down, enunciate. Definitely. Do you know what syllables are, Trooper Paul? Do you know what syllables are? There are 4 syllables in this word. Count them out. Use your fingers if you have to. Definitely. 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 Start slow and then say it fast. Because I realized that your brain, when it has a thought, there's a gap in the thought, much like the Sallyport video. There are gaps in your thoughts, much like the Sallyport video. So you have to try to keep them together. Okay, Trooper Paul? Thank you. Fucking dude, bro. Definitely.
Okay.
Look at him one more
So
time.
you
Definitively where the pedestrian struck. Definitively, yes.
okay. So you're gonna have to slow down and speak up. Okay.
Decedent John O'Keefe was documented to have craniocerebral injuries, including skull fractures of the optical skull and the right parietal bone with associated subdural and subarachnoid hemorrhages. These injuries of the scalp, skull, and brain are consistent with, among other things, a backwards fall, unprotected falls due to various reasons and known to result in serious craniocerebral injuries resulting in death. Other mechanisms of injury cannot be excluded. Do you agree with that?
In a way.
You could learn a lot from a dummy. Buckle your safety belt.
I'm gonna add a little something there. I'm gonna add my own flavor. Holy shit, man.
The best way to support
Microdots,
our
y'all.
channel is to become a member. Please visit
Join
patreon.com/microdots.
Patreon. Microdots Patreon. That's where you get exclusive content, y'all. Oh, shut up. Here we go. Hold on. Wait, what?
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
I think we got a super dad. Super dad. I think we got a super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Dad, 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 dad. I think we got a super dad.
How dare we?
Matt B, thank you so much. Why would he be nervous? He's an expert. Exactly. He's a total expert. Oh my God, that was fucking brilliant. Microdots fucking mashing up Hank Brennan drilling Dr. Marie Russell, but instead it was Trooper Paul. And the Karen's reactions that he threw in there are just fucking brilliant, bro. Fucking brilliant. Oh my God, that was so much fun. Thanks for that, Microdots. Another banger from Microdots. Yes. Okay. Now, today, as we're all aware already, today there was a hearing in regards to David Green, who is a digital forensics expert, and he is the defense's digital forensics expert, and it is his opinion based on using multiple different methodologies and tools, and coming up with the same conclusion each time. That conclusion being that Jennifer McCabe absolutely Googled Haas Long to die in the cold at 2:27 a.m., which was deleted. Now, who deleted it? I don't know. My money's on Guarino. But I'm not sure. The only reason I thought Jen was because make no mistake, I totally fucking believe it got deleted. It totally got deleted. It totally got deleted. So, Jen, this dude came to the conclusion after following several different methodologies and tools, and then coming to the same conclusion that Jennifer McCabe absolutely Googled how long to diet cold at 2:27 a.m. That was ultimately deleted. And then here's a couple of very, very just quick bullet points as to what David Green's affidavit stated. There were 5 different tools, Celebrite being one of them, before the first trial. In the Commonwealth's experts reports, Ms. Hyde and Mr. Whiffen, they concluded that it was better to use multiple different programs, tools to basically troubleshoot and find out whether or not Jen McCabe actually conducted that search, or at least whether the search was there. Each time, they at least acknowledged that the search was there. And it did show up as deleted. Later on, there's the trial, and then in December of 2024, the next report that Hyde puts out, Whiffen puts out, they only cite using Celebrite. Now, sometime before that, what some people don't know is that Ian Whiffen works for Celebrite, and he allegedly performed an update with Celebrite, and since that update, the 2:27 a.m. search doesn't show up at all through Celebrite data. Yet it still shows up under the other 4 tools. One of them being named Axiom. That's the only one that comes to mind. And another one of those programs was actually developed by Ian Whiffen. It's his own software that he created. And so the interesting thing is when David Green ran this this diagnostics with that software, with Ian Whiffen's own software, the 2:27 a.m. search comes up, and it does come up as deleted. So I don't understand what Brennan was trying to pull here. Well, actually, I'm quite certain of it now, because he gave a whole lot of double talk, tried to play games with the judge. Now, there's a slight chance here. There is a slight chance here that Judge Beverly Cannoni may be annoyed at Hank Brennan's methodology here, at his strategy. She may be annoyed with this at this point, or at least getting annoyed with it, because these things are just wasting a lot of time. And in the law, when it comes to a case where you have hired counsel, time is money. And I am absolutely of the opinion at this point that Hank Brennan's strategy is to waste time, which would in turn waste Karen Reed's money, which would drain her. This strategy seems to have come up conveniently soon after this Vanity Fair article, where Karen Reed discloses to the public that she is $5 million currently in debt for her defense fund. And oh shit, I forgot to do this. I always forget to do this. She is $5 million currently in debt. And Hank Brennan knows this. And we have to assume that this is his strategy because I've seen it happen many times before. I've seen this strategy applied in other cases, usually civil cases, not criminal cases. I've never seen that shit happen in a criminal case, but I've seen it happen in civil cases.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
I think we got a super dad. Super dad. I think we got a super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Dad, 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 dad. I think we got a super dad.
How dare
Wow, bro. Thank you, Gatling Gun. I appreciate it. This a Gatling Gun dystopian approach, David Reese. Judge Bev ruled this afternoon that a hearing isn't needed. Thank you so much, a Gatling Gun dystopian. I'm wondering, I have a quick question for you. Do you go to the movies? Like when you went and saw the movie The Sixth Sense, did you take a $5 bill and crumble it up and throw it at the screen and yell at the audience and say, hey, the thing about the kid and the dude, Bruce Willis has been dead since the Donnie Wahlberg scene at the beginning of the movie. So do you do that? Thank you. I'm getting there, man. Anyway, I'm calm now. No, I appreciate the super chat. Yes, we all know, dude. We're all aware at this point. Thank you. That Judge Bev denied the hearing, that the hearing's not going to happen, which I was just about to get to. It's all good, bro. I'm just messing with you, dude. Thank you, man. Hold on a second. Let me check. Yeah. So as you can see, Gatling gun guy, I got it right here. Okay. But I'm not ready for this yet. You're just gonna have to wait. The sky is blue. Yes, thank you, Street Squirrel. I appreciate that too. Another bullet point from homies David Green's After David. Another bullet point is that the Commonwealth and Jen McCabe claimed that two different tabs, or sorry, the one tab got confused with the times because she actually conducted, under Karen Reed's behest, supposedly, allegedly, she Googled house log to die in cold at 6:34 a.m. At Karen Reed's request. Damn, I said that like Trooper Paul. At Karen Reed's request. I don't believe that shit for a second. And she says that the reason why it comes up at 2:27 a.m. is because it got confused with the same tab. It was on the same tab as a sports search that she conducted at 2:27 a.m. And that's why it was on the same tab. But the problem is that David Green discovered that both tabs had completely different ID numbers, which means that they were two separate tabs, which means that Jen McCabe is a fucking liar, which means that the Commonwealth knows this. And the Commonwealth is trying to railroad Karen Reed. I mean, I've been saying David Green. I'm sorry, Richard Green. Thank you, guys. I always get fucking white people's names mixed up. You know, Will, Bill, you know. I always do. I always get old school American white people's names mixed up. Bob, Bill, Dave. Flathead. Yeah, I'm not a Bill. That is very true. But so and clearly Alessi's goal here was to have another hearing. Not Alessi, excuse me. Brennan's goal here was to have another hearing. That's what's really interesting. Brennan's goal was to get Bev to have another hearing because listen, every single time that they have to fly out an expert to testify for a voir dire, that drains Karen Reed. It drains her. She has to pay for that. She has to pay for the expert's time. She has to pay for the expert's accommodations. She has to pay her attorneys their time for having to prepare their witness, their expert. I mean, Brennan knows this. Brennan is a defense attorney, a high-profile defense attorney who represented the most infamous mobster in the history of Boston, Whitey Bulger. I mean, Nicholson's character Costello in The Departed was inspired by Whitey Bulger. Obviously. And yeah, he lost. Bulger went to prison. But my point being is that Hank Brennan is approaching this like a defense attorney. This is clearly what he was hired for. And I said this before. Now I love to see things unfold and be proven right. Me with my fucking GED education, I love to fucking be right. It's way more satisfying to me to be right about things like this than it is for people like Melanie Little or Lawyer or Emily Baker, because they went to school for this shit. They learned this shit. Me, I'm just fucking spitballing, bro. Okay? So when I'm right about shit like this, I'm like, fuck yeah. Which is really pathetic, by the way. But it's funny. Nevertheless, I still feel this way. And clearly this is what he's doing. If you have a case, if you have a strong case against the defendant that you're charging and prosecuting, then why the need to defend against that defendant's defense? Why? There's so much compelling evidence that there was a conspiracy to cover up the murder of Boston police officer John O'Keefe. There's so much evidence to indicate this that there's no choice. But the thing is the only option that Brennan has to 12 jurors with some common sense, the only chance that he has is to confuse them, is to put up a bunch of smoke and mirrors and confuse them. So what he's doing now is he's trying to get this, he's trying to drain her out of a defense, and she'll have to take a plea. And then case closed. It's over. As far as the law will be concerned, justice would have been served. That is why it's so important that we support Karen Reed. Okay. I do have her defense fund link pinned to the top of the chat. But it's so important that we support Karen Reed because this is the home stretch, folks. We're seeing dirty, dirty shit happening right in front of our faces. And it's legally legit, apparently, in Massachusetts to do this. The law is absolutely being weaponized by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts in order to put the wrong person in prison for the murder of a Boston police officer. Just because there's some good old boy bullshit going on in Norfolk County and Canton.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
I think we got a super dad. Super dad. I think we got a super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Dad, 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 dad. I think we got a super dad.
How dare you?
I'm sorry, did you not catch that? Glera, there is a memorandum of decision in order, a non-party Gretchen Voss's motion. Okay, thank you for that. I will look into that. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
I think we got a super dad. Super dad. I think we got a super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Dad, 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 dad. I think we got a super dad.
How dare you?
Curious Liz, thank you so much. I had a thought the other day that Spanky is in this because he's so butthurt over losing to the feds with Whitey. He seems like the kind of guy to look for some weak payback to make himself feel better. Yeah, but I think there's more to it than that. I think that I absolutely think that to some weaselly, cowardly degree that Michael Morrissey is mobbed up. And I think that through his mobbed up connections, he managed to land Hank Brennan in this extremely awkward position to prosecute an unwinnable case for practically fucking peanuts. Something is seriously stinky about this. Something reeks about this. Now, ultimately, what was going on here is Brennan is trying to drain Karen Reed by holding these unnecessary hearings and having her burdening her with the expense of flying her experts in. They're not having it. They filed a motion for Karen Reed to Karen Reed's camp filed a motion for the Commonwealth to have to pay for another and I already forget his name, but another digital forensics expert who was hired to examine the DVR data from the Sallyport video at the Canton PD, and that was a big waste of everyone's time. Like they literally deliberately wasted Karen Reed's time and money. So I have every reason to believe that this is Hank Brennan's strategy at this point. And Judge Bev came to a decision on this. I'm going to go ahead and read this. The Commonwealth respectfully moves this honorable court to exclude the proposed expert testimony of Richard Green relative to two issues. The claim that Jennifer McCabe's phone Googled how long to die in cold or how blah, 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 and any time prior to 6:23 a.m. on January 29th, 2022. And that Jennifer McCabe's phone incurred user deletions of any data related to Google searches. Exclusion is appropriate because both claims lack any evidentiary support, and the claims cannot be made in good faith. Allowing introduction of baseless claims without any scientific, forensic, or factual support would be misleading to the jury and disruptive in the interest of justice. Wow, you fuckers just actually fucking use that. The Commonwealth's expert Ian Whiffen and Celebrite's senior digital intelligence expert and an expert in digital forensics, he is engaged in a comprehensive analysis of the two above claims lodged by Mr. Green. His analysis has included the blah, 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 blah. Now, this in writing here is Judge Bev's decision on having a hearing. And I want to say that it should also be noted that how I know that Brennan is just trying to be confusing and play cheap defense attorney tricks as he's trying to prosecute someone is he's trying to claim that the defense's expert is unqualified when his credentials vastly surpass Ian Whiffin's, the Commonwealth's own expert. So if the Commonwealth's expert is qualified, how in the fuck is Richard Green not qualified? That makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. So I'm going to try to read her handwriting here. And after reading the newest of the written submissions, I have determined that I can decide this blah, 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 and without any further hearing. Okay. So without any further hearing, meaning that Judge Bev is not going to hold a hearing on this. That's great. Awesome. But that doesn't mean that she's made a decision on Richard Green being allowed as an expert. But it kind of does, because it boils down to this simple fact. And I want to reiterate the word fact. I want to emphasize the word fact. Either Judge Beverly Cannoni will allow Richard Green to testify and conclude that he is a expert witness, that he is qualified as an expert, or she will deny it. Now, this fact that I'm speaking of, if she denies it, she is corrupt as fuck. Because there's absolutely no reason to not let this man. There's no reason in any realm where the interest of justice is a factor in her decision making. There is no reality where she would not allow this man to testify, because he already testified in the last hearing. And in that affidavit, he does give methodology, even though Hank Brennan played the classic bullshit artist fucking move, which is if I say things out loud enough times, it will become a reality. So if I say that he is not qualified and he did not use the proper methodology, he gave us no track of his methodology at all, based on the fact that he has not laid out his methodology, well, then he's not a qualified expert. That was what his argument was today. But the problem is that he did. He did lay out his methodology. And he doesn't even have to, because there is overwhelming data to indicate that the Commonwealth's own experts applied the same methodology and tools that the defense's expert Richard Green did before the last trial. That right there makes it pure and fucking simple. There is no honest, no not nefarious fucking reason why Judge Beverly Cannoni would deny this expert from being able to testify. I wonder if my shit got here. Sorry, I ordered groceries. I might have to go grab them in a second. Oh, no, not yet. Cool. We're good. Yeah, man. Drago's not gonna have cat food in the morning if I didn't order that stuff. But I'm also, this is my last energy drink, and I ordered this now so that I would have more energy drinks for the rest of the stream. I mean, worst case scenario, make coffee. Whatever. Yeah, there's no. If Judge Beverly Cannoni denies this man from being able to testify for the defense, dude, Alessi's argument was no less than fucking dope. And we're gonna go over that. We're gonna go over at least Alessi's presentation, because I can't deal with Brennan and his double talk. We already listened to it today. I'm not going to subject you guys to it again. But I do want to hear this Bob Alessi fucking rock and roll all over that courtroom again. Now, there's another one, wasn't there? Okay, there we go. Let's do, well, I'll wait on this. But I will bring up the hearing from today. I have to deal with fucking the fucking Southern fried fucking Confederate lawyer. That represented Gretchen Voss. What's funny is I like the guy. Like, I agreed with everything he was saying. He was just like totally like he was not captivating in the slightest bit. So unless you're really interested in what's going on here, you're not going to give a fuck about what this guy has to say. It's real easy to disconnect from what that dude was saying. Not very good at delivering. But he had a good argument. No, this fucking guy still.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Alessi.
Ooh, you suck.
Yeah. Mr. Alessi. I'm going to speed it up a little too, because I do want to open the phone lines later. Let me, there we go.
May it please the court. Mr. Green is eminently qualified to provide testimony in this case with regard to the subject matter that has been challenged by the prosecution in this case, and that is with regards to the search of House Long to Die in the Cold that occurred at 2:27:40 a.m. on January 29th, 2022. Mr. Green, and I want to cover the baseline for this hearing first. Mr. Green testified at the first trial. He testified without objections as to his qualifications. He testified without objections to his methodology. Your Honor sat, obviously presided over that trial. Your Honor did not issue after his testimony any limiting or curative instructions with regard to either his qualifications or methodology, nor did the prosecution after his testimony stand up and ask for any such limitations or qualification. The baseline for his qualifications and methodology was established, again, without objection. And
wow,
they are being challenged now.
That's
so
there's a big stink about that, because that was right there Peggy O'Keefe's phone ringing. The mother of Boston police officer John O'Keefe, victim's mother, her phone goes off and she has to leave. Now, we've seen this happen before. We've joked about this happening in other cases. And We laugh when the judge kicks them out. Like, and even in the whole Turtle Boy thing, Grant got kicked out for using his laptop to take pictures. Somebody during the Sarah Boone got kicked out. And it was Susan Constantine, the body language expert that I had on here. Susan Constantine got kicked out of the Sarah Boone trial because of her cell phone. And so a lot of people gave Peggy O'Keefe shit. Like, yeah, is it negligent? Sure. But, you know, at the same time, I'm not going to, you know, as far as this goes, I'm not going to. What's up, buddy? I love you. Just go lay down right now. I know. Did you eat? You haven't even eaten all your food. Go eat all your food, buddy. Go eat your food. Go on. Go eat your food, baby boy. You still got a lot left. Oh, I love you too, buddy. Go lay down. Go lay down or go eat your food. But I got to do this right now. Okay? Please? Clover. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. So yeah, he's such a good dog. He listens so well. So yeah, so Peggy O'Keefe, I mean, like, I'm gonna give her grace because she is the victim's mother. You know, like, what do you expect Bev to do? Like, scold the victim's mother in front of the entire world? You know what I mean? So I don't blame Bev for not saying anything then. And for all we know, it was important. Somebody reported that Paul O'Keefe's wife came in with them, which I saw that, but apparently she left shortly after Peggy O'Keefe got that phone call. So it could have been very important. So I have not watched Brother Counsel, but or at least not today. So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to give Peggy O'Keefe a little grace, or really give more grace to Judge Bev on that for just ignoring it and blowing it off and staying on task, leaving it alone. And you got Gretchen Voss back here.
Honor, they are being challenged now, but the reason I state that is because what Mr. Green has provided in response to this motion is even more detail than what happened in the first trial. In Mr. Brennan's argument, he did not make one argument about Mr. Green's qualifications. Zero. So I'm assuming.
Thank you, Beach Life.
There's nothing in their motion that even goes into why he might not be qualified. So to me, Your Honor, that's a tacit concession, if not expressed, that he's qualified. And of course, he has to be qualified in digital forensics because there are 5 other areas of digital forensics opinions and methodology that Mr. Green is testifying about that has not been challenged. So to me, it is rather odd right off the jump that there's no challenge to 5 other areas of data forensics, and there's just this challenge to one aspect of his whole testimony and opinions.
Yo, Bill looks like such a fucking boss, dude. Like, he's still got his fucking collar up. He's got his overcoat on because it's a rainy day and it's a cold day. And he's got just the perfect fucking coat for a man of his demeanor. And he's just sitting in the courtroom, totally engaged, looking dope as fuck. Like, if you ever talk to this guy, man, you know, you can appreciate what I'm talking about here.
Oh, here we go.
I think we got a super dad. Super dad. I think we got a super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Super dad. 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 I think we got a super dad.
How dare you? Dewey loves duckies. Thank you so much. I propose a booster seat for Clubber so he can stay close to you and we can enjoy seeing him. He's a couple of bucks Here's a couple of bucks to get that going. I can't promise that couple of bucks will go to that immediately. But I will say this, man. Just as a thank you for that super chat, I'll piggyback off of that a little bit, because I the thing is what you guys don't really know is Clubber, not just here when I'm doing streams, he's right next to me at all times, except for when I leave the house, when I'm not walking it. But he is right next to me at all times. He is my little dude. Like, he is attached to me. We sleep, like, we straight up fucking cuddle. Like, I hold him like a baby throughout the night. And when we nap, like, I just hold him in my arms like a baby. And he sleeps and snores right on my chest, and I fall asleep to the snoring. Like, because he's so comfortable with me, and it makes me feel good, and it makes me fall asleep easier and sleep well. He is the best thing that's ever happened to my mental health. The best thing. He's amazing. So if I were to get like a booster seat, he probably might sit in it, but a better thing to do would be to get a whole new setup, which I might just do. Just remodel this whole scenario right here and have a couch that I sit at while I stream, and he'll just sit next to me. Maybe. That's not a firm decision, but in lieu of that super chat, I wanted to say that it's something that is a possibility, but I'm not sure. I do like my setup now, but it doesn't hurt to change things up a bit from time to time. And the people really love seeing Clever. And that makes me really happy that Clever makes you guys so happy. So, because he really makes me happy. And so, yeah, it's something that I'm seriously considering. Yeah, because if I'm like on a couch type deal, like, he'll sit next to me. He'll sit right next to me. He'll stay right next to me the whole time. But I don't know if one of the hangups that I'm having with that is I'm already so easily distracted because of my ADHD. Like, I have really, really, really bad ADHD. And I'm not just throwing that term around like people do, like, oh, I'm OCD because I need my socks to match. No, like, I'm clinically diagnosed with ADHD. I have been since I was a small kid. But and Nancy S, thank you so much for Clever's couch. Thank you. The only thing is, like, you guys see me, I get brain farts constantly as I'm streaming here. So if I have him next to me, dude, you don't understand. I'm always petting him. I'm always loving him. I'm always talking sweet to him, telling him how much I love him, and telling him how lucky I am to have him in my life. And I'm always doing this. Like, I have to rewind movies that I'm watching sometimes because I will just get lost in just loving up on Clever and his face. So like, if I'm doing a live stream, dude, you know what I mean? Like, if I'm doing a live stream and I got that going on, I don't want to get distracted with Clever, And then if he starts to get like playful and he wants to play, you know what I mean? So these are the things that I'm thinking about. I don't know what I'm going to do. We'll see. But I just wanted to share with that, based on that super chat, what my thoughts are. And thank you so much, Nancy S. Appreciate you. I don't know what you're sorry for, but
I provided Your Honor with two exhibits, demonstrative in support of my oral argument. Exhibit 1 is entitled Digital Forensic Methodology Regarding Subject Artifact, and Exhibit 2 is entitled Digital Forensic Product Tools Used by Witnesses. The Commonwealth has agreed to my use of those exhibits. They had some, I agreed to theirs, and I would like to, Your Honor, use those in a moment. The Commonwealth, in its oral argument.
I know I'm interrupting this. I get it, but this is a fun little comment here. This is an interesting question. Do my dates get jealous of Clubber? Throw that fish back. Right. But the thing is I would have to have dates. It's an interesting thing being my age, being this year turning a half a century old. Yes. This year turning a half a century old. And having done everything sexual that I've ever wanted to do in my entire life, and having every type of toxic or good relationship ever, like within all those years, and to be single now and have that dog, I don't date. I don't need to date. I simply just fucking don't. Dude, being single and being me right now is the dopest fucking shit in the world. I answer to no one. I share and collaborate plans with fucking no one. It is nirvana. It is fucking beautiful. Yeah, I don't like, I'm old now, dude. Like I like I'm way past that age where I feel like I need to conquer a woman and get her in my bed, you know? Like, don't get me wrong, if I meet somebody and we click, you know, like right on, cool. You know, I'm not like consciously celibate here. I just don't give a fuck enough to seek it out. And I live in the middle of fucking nowhere. And honestly, like where you live, like it's like attractive women where I live is very rare. It's slim pickings because there's nothing here except churches and diners. You know what I mean? Churches, grocery stores, and diners, you know? And so if you've ever lived in a rural town in the South, you know, yeah, there's, and your standards are, you know, and that's the thing too. It's just my standards have gotten way higher since I dumped so many of the bad habits I used to have. So yeah. So that, like, when I tell you that I am absolutely living in bliss right now, I am. I live the simplest fucking life. I go to the gym, I watch movies, I cuddle with my dog, and I stream here. That is my life. And it is fucking beautiful because it is 100% on my terms. I don't know if I can fuck that up. I don't know if I can do that. You know, I'm not saying never, but you would have to be a fucking the dopest fucking woman to have ever walked the planet to fuck this up for me right now. That's all I'm saying. That's where I'm at when it comes to dating, just so you know.
Argument said 10 times just now that there's no methodology and that Mr.
What's up,
Green does
Tom?
not articulate a methodology.
I hope you're feeling better, buddy.
That is incredible to me because the opposition and Mr. Green's affidavit, in fact, are replete with the methodology. And here is the key, Your Honor. While Mr. Brennan challenges the methodology, none of his witnesses, neither Mr. Whiffen nor Ms. Hyde, challenge the methodology. As a matter of fact, in their two reports, neither of them even describe Mr. Green's methodology, nor do they challenge it. And of course they can't, because it's the same exact methodology that they use. And that's what I would like to go to now. Exhibit 1 is entitled Digital Forensics Methodology Regarding Subject Artifact, J. McCabe iPhone Data. And I prepared this. This is just what's in our opposition. It's in Mr. Green's affidavit, but it summarizes what the methodology is that we're talking about here. What is that methodology? Step 1, you receive, and this is to answer the question about what is the proper interpretation of the artifact in question that everybody agrees is the artifact. Step 1, receive a full file system image of extracted data from the Commonwealth. For example, the defense.
Like literally fucking Hank Brennan stood up there and accused Richard Green of not having methodology and not stating his methodology. Right here, Bob Alessi is explaining is showing is reading his affidavit, and it's literally like step by step. Step 1, this is what I do. Step 2, I do this next. This is that is the definition of methodology, explaining methodology. What the fuck is Brennan talking about?
Received it on a USB thumb drive. That's undisputed. If you look at the reports of Ms. Hyde, you look at the reports of Mr. Whiffen, they all say they received a full file system image of extracted data. So step 1 in the methodology that everybody agrees that occurred. Number 2, verify hash signature value of image file of data received. This is very important because hash values with regard to forensic data is extraordinarily important for it to be proper because it's the signature, the fingerprint, that allows data forensic examiners to be sure that the data that they're giving is sacrosanct. It is not possible for manipulation. The Commonwealth just said that Mr. Green has hurled several accusations without a basis, one of which regards the potential for manipulation of data. And it's remarkable that there is even an issue about this dispute. Mr. Green did put in his affidavit an unprecedented situation, and it is this. Mr. Garino, Trooper Garino, in his April 2023 report, which is an exhibit to our opposition, states that when he got the phone of Ms. McCabe, he used Celebrite UFED, a tool of Celebrite, to image the phone. And that's all he sent to the defense in the beginning. Why is that unusual? Because what happens in every case, without exception, is that the law enforcement sends the raw image original data that has the hash signature on it. And the hash signature is an algorithm that produces, they call it, in this case, SHA-256. What it is it's a stamp of reliability that says, as soon as we got this data, we immediately processed it the proper way and put a hash signature so that there can be no contest. What the Commonwealth fails to tell the court, Your Honor. That's another. Oh, Law and Crime kept fucking glitching. But I do have it paused now. That's another bullet point there, is that when the defense was given the defense's expert was given the Celebrite data, or not the Celebrite data, but the data in as far as Jennifer McCabe's phone goes. It was given by Trooper Guarino, and it was missing the hash value. And as I explained the last time I was live, or day before yesterday, sorry, as I explained, the hash value, or maybe it was yesterday, I don't know. The hash value is basically, the analogy that I used is the hash value on forensic data, forensic phone data, is basically the same thing as an evidence sticker that seals an evidence bag. If that evidence sticker is broken, then it's been tampered with. I also use the analogy that if it's a half a gallon of milk and there is the band around the cap is missing or broken, but missing in this case. Clever, please stop that. Eat your food. Don't knock it over. What are you being a dick for? Go lay down. Yes, I love you too, buddy, but you got to go either eat your food or lay down. Like, he's literally telling me right now that he wants to go lay down and cuddle. Like watch a movie or something. That's totally what he's doing right now. Because he went to the bathroom before. Go lay down. Off. Thank you. So if that band on that cap of your half gallon of milk is gone, it's missing, then you wouldn't buy that milk, would you? Because its integrity has been compromised. So therefore, the integrity of this evidence
has been compromised without its hash value. The hash value represents the band around the cap of milk represents the hash value in this analogy. So therefore, if the hash value is missing, well, then the evidence has been tampered with. And you need a certain level of skills, according to Richard Green, a certain set of skills and knowledge to be able to remove this hash value. So it was done deliberately, in his opinion. And it was handed over to him by Trooper Guarino. That does not come to me as a coincidence, especially not with the hundreds of other coincidences in this case.
And that leads any proper data forensic investigator to question the integrity of the data. If you turn to, Your Honor, Mr. Whiffin's very long December 2024 report, which is Exhibit 1 to the Commonwealth's motion on page 3, and I'm going to read it verbatim. This value is talking.
Yeah, that's their feed, man. That's Law and Crime's
Here's the key
feed.
point. However, this requires authentication of the original hash value, which is not possible with gray key extractions, as the PDF containing the extraction hash value is unsigned. Therefore, this hash value could be used as a suggestion of authentication. That's all a fancy camouflage way of saying, Mr. Whiffin saying, I can't validate this hash value because of the way Trooper Guarino processed it.
Look at
Hash value because of the way Trooper Guarino processed it. Can't.
Check out Esty. She's totally looking at Alessi like he's lunch. Dude, when I was streaming this live earlier, my whole chat was blowing up talking about, oh my God, Alessi, nerd law daddy. Oh my God, so hot vibes, spicy nerd daddy. The whole chat was blowing up. And then you got Esty looking at my man like he is lunch.
Validate this hash value because of the way Trooper Guarino processed it. Do it, Mr. Guarino, Trooper Guarino, the right way when he got it. And why is this of concern? Add to this point that's conceding that the hash
Even Bill kind of is. Bill's just kind of like, this guy is fucking awesome.
value in this data cannot be validated. How did the defense get this? When Mr. Guarino used the Celebrate UFED reader, all he turned over in the beginning was the UFED reader report. He didn't turn over the data, the full. So Mr. Green had to ask for the data. Then what happens, misstep number 2, Trooper Guarino only provides a PDF of the hash value. He used gray key, which was a mistake, because gray key, you can't get the original hash value. Mr. Green had to go back a second time and say, no, we don't want just a PDF. We want the full extraction. Finally, after the second time, the defense got the full extraction. And that's when we discovered that the validation was improper. It's not Mr. Green that is coming up out of thin air with these issues. This is the job of a data
What's funny is you can't unsee it now because the camera's on them the whole time. Like, look at us. I could pause it anywhere.
Person, and the first principle is to see whether the data is valid. So not only does Mr. Green justify in his affidavit why there's a big concern over this, Mr. Whiffin concedes it on page 3 of his report. That starts, and I'm going to get to it, all the concerns now about the data and deletions. But that's the foundation for it, and it wasn't caused by the defense. It was caused by Trooper Guarino, who didn't do this properly. And with regard to the methodology, I want to go back to Exhibit 1. So importantly, Your Honor, 1 through 4 of this methodology is undisputed by all of the data forensic persons. Mr. Whiffin, Ms. Hyde, and Mr. Green all agree on 1 through 4. They all agree that this is the methodology. Number 3, once you get the image of the file, each examiner saves the image to their lab storage system. Some use computer servers, some cloud storage. And 4, of the methodology, you then process the data with appropriate tools. Nobody disputes that Celebrite Physical Analyzer and Magnet Forensic Axiom are 2 of the many tools that are available to use. There's a dotted line that I put there, Your Honor, because 1 through 4 is undisputed by all 3 data forensic examiners. Number 5. And 1 through 4 is usually all one needs to do as a data forensic examiner. But Mr. Green went on to do more. Number 5, further processing of data as warranted, and he explains why it's warranted here, with additional tools. So he then went on to use Sanderson Forensic Browser, ArtX, Belkasoft X, and then he didn't use iLeap, Ms. Hyde used iLeap. So it's important to line up the methodology. I just don't understand how it can be stated that there's no methodology stated. Not only does Mr. Green state it, we prove undisputed that everybody agrees this is what the methodology is. And that is what.
All right, I'm gonna keep playing this, but at regular speed because I got to step away.
Is agreed upon. What is disputed, Your Honor, is what are the opinions from when you apply the methodology and you apply these tools. So, interestingly, it is Mr. Whiffen who provided the most lengthy report in this motion. Mr. Whiffen only used 2 forensic tools. He only used Cellebrite Physical Analyzer and his own software, ArtX. That's it. What I'd like to, Your Honor, is ask if I could, please, if you could turn to Exhibit 2, which is entitled Digital Forensics Products Tools Used by Witnesses. And I just want to make sure Your Honor has that.
Okay.
So I prepared this demonstrative exhibit to show the tools that all parties used. And the purpose of this is to show how closely Mr. Green and Ms. Hyde match up with the tools used and how insufficient Mr. Whiffen and Mr. Garino are. So if you look at the left-hand column on Mr. Green, and I color-coded it to try to make it easier, you see 7 tools used by Mr. Green. You see 6 tools used by Ms. Hyde in May of 2023. Many of her tools exact same as Mr. Green. You see Mr. Whiffen, who used really 2 tools, but to be conservative, I listed them as 3 because they're just different versions of Cellebrite Physical Analyzer. And then Mr. Garino, Trooper Garino, used 2 tools. But here's what's really important and I think remarkable that springs from this chart. Mr. Green did more, had a more encompassing and comprehensive review than any of the witnesses here. And back to Exhibit 1, he did 2 more steps in his methodology than everyone else. So 1 through 5 of the methodology, everybody did. 6 is analyze overall user activity, artifacts of interest, timelines of interest, and anomalies such as deleted data. 7, reporting as appropriate pertinent artifacts, other artifacts. For this motion, Mr. Green did 6 and 7, and no other witness did that. The issue in this case as to whose interpretation is correct is an opinion issue. It is not a methodology issue. And Mr. Green makes that very, very clear in his affidavit that the difference is in opinions. Interestingly, on the very key subject of whether the artifact and the interpretation of it is a difference in methodology, a difference in application of methodology, or an opinion, which is not the subject of a Dalbert Lanigan hearing, opinions are not. Here's what Mr. Whiffen had to say about the issue. This is Exhibit 2 to our opposition. It's the June 17, 2024 testimony of Mr. Whiffen, page 1-10, starting on lines 14, the question. And what, if anything, did you find with regard to the web history artifacts? Answer, this is Mr. Whiffen. So the 22740 timestamp was correct insofar as that is the time that is shown within the database. It was indeed a deleted record. But the interesting thing was why the timestamp said 22740.
That was Whiffen that said that. That was Whiffen, the Commonwealth's own expert, straight up said that it was indeed a deleted record. Oh, shit. My bad, dude. Fuck. I don't even know where I was.
I have provided Your Honor with 2 exhibits, demonstrative in support of my oral argument. Exhibit 1 is entitled Digital Forensics Methodology Regarding Subject Artifact, and Exhibit 2 is entitled Digital Forensic.
Yeah, I already
which
played
was a
that.
mistake, because Great Key, you can't get the original hash value. Mr. Green had to go back a second time and say, no, we don't want just a PDF. We want the full extraction. Finally, after the second time, the defense got the full extraction. And that's when we discovered that the validation was improper. It's not Mr. Green that is coming up out of thin air with these issues. This is the job of a data forensic person. And the first principle is to see whether the data is valid. So not only does Mr. Green justify in his affidavit why there's a big concern over this, Mr. Whiffen concedes it on page 3 of his report. That starts, and I'm going to get to it, all the concerns now about the data and deletions. But that's the foundation for it, and it wasn't caused by the defense. It was caused by Trooper Garino, who didn't do this properly.
Exactly.
And with regard to the methodology, I want to go back to Exhibit 1. So, importantly, Your Honor, 1 through 4 of this methodology is undisputed by all of the data forensic persons. Mr. Whiffen, Ms. Hyde, and Mr. Dean all agree on 1 through 4. They all agree that this is the methodology. Number 3, once you get the image of the file, each examiner saves the image to their lab storage system. Some use computer servers, some cloud storage. And 4, of the methodology, you then process the data with appropriate tools. Nobody disputes that Cellebrite Physical Analyzer and Magnet Forensic Axiom are 2 of the many tools that are available to use. There's a dotted line that I put there, Your Honor, because 1 through 4 is undisputed by all 3 data forensic examiners. Number 5.
I mean,
1 through 4 is usually all.
The thing is like, Alessi's really good, but this helps him on top of being so good. On top of him being so good, this argument is that much better because it's the only thing, it's the only argument that has made any sense. It's the only argument that actually tracks. So, nightclubs, thank you so much. Bev said Commonwealth can't get off-record notes. Okay, so that's the ruling on the Gretchen Voss thing. Thank you so much. Good. Because that protects journalists' rights. I'm glad that Gretchen Voss got her attorneys. I'm glad that her attorney got that decision in his favor, because he did put up a great argument. I really liked his argument. The problem was the guy is funny.
One needs to do as a data forensic examiner, but Mr. Green went on to do more. Number 5, further processing of data as warranted, and he explains why it's warranted here with additional tools. So he then went on to use Sanderson Forensic Browser, ArtX, Belkasoft X, and then he didn't use iLeap. Ms. Hyde used iLeap. So it's important to line up the methodology. I just don't understand how it can be stated that there's no methodology stated. Not only does Mr. Green state it, we prove undisputed that everybody agrees this is what the methodology is. And that is what is so flummoxing as to why we're even here, because the methodology is agreed upon. What is disputed, Your Honor, is what are the opinions from when you apply the methodology and you apply these tools. So, interestingly, it is Mr. Whiffen who provided the most.
And this is where it boils down to a battle of experts. Let's think about that for a second. This is where it boils down to a battle of experts, because that right there works totally in the defense's favor. And this is why Hank Brennan is taking a shit, because once a jury hears that all the methodology was applied, all the same methodology was applied by all of the experts, the Commonwealth's experts, as well as the defense's expert, that all of them applied the same methodology, but the only one that can actually come up with a consistent, with a result, with consistent explanation as to why he got to that result is going to be the defense. So once you establish to a jury that they all applied the same methodology, initially applied the same methodology, but then the methodology was diminished, narrowed, and deliberately narrowed, instructed by the Commonwealth to these experts. This next time around, the Commonwealth's experts, their methodology was narrowed to the one tool that has been tampered with. Narrowed down to the one tool that one of the Commonwealth's experts work for. Narrowed down to the one tool that is the only tool that the 2:27 a.m. artifact does not show. All of the sudden, after an update had taken place. Nightclubs, thank you so much. I have been trying for months to donate in Super Chat. It would not let me. This is the first time. Did you change something in your settings? I did not. But thank you. I appreciate it. Could have been an update in your phone or something like that. Maybe, I don't know. Like when it comes to like if you're having trouble sending a Super Chat, like I have a theory. If you're trying to send a Super Chat to another channel at a different time, and you do it on the same tab, those Super Chats will get confused with each other. And so your Super Chats won't know what to do or who to donate to. This is obviously a common problem with the Super Chat feature, because the wall files in the Super Chat are the wall file in your phone that stores the Super Chat and sends it, is absolutely and totally affected, and it's a glitch. So hopefully you did an update on your phone and your wall files were no longer corrupted, and the Super Chat was able to come through. Thank goodness for that. So I'm really happy that the Super Chat feature was worked out finally.
Lengthy report in this motion, Mr. Whiffen only used two forensic tools. He only used Celebrite Physical Analyzer and his own software, Ardex. That's it. What I'd like to, Your Honor, is ask if I could, please, if you could turn to Exhibit 2, which is entitled Digital Forensics Products Tools Used by Witnesses. And I just want to make sure Your Honor has that.
Okay.
So I prepared this demonstrative exhibit to show the tools that all parties used. And the purpose of this is to show how closely Mr. Green and Ms. Hyde match up with the tools used, and how insufficient Mr. Whiffen
making changes to Finley did not teach me that.
and Mr. Garino are. So if you look at the left-hand column on Mr. Green, and I color-coded it to try to make it easier, you see 7 tools used by Mr. Green. You see 6 tools used by Ms. Hyde in May of 2023. Many of her tools exact same as Mr. Green. You see Mr. Whiffen, who used really 2 tools, but to be conservative, I listed them as 3 because they're just different versions of Celebrite Physical Analyzer. And then Mr. Garino, Trooper Garino, used 2 tools. But here's what's really important and I think remarkable that springs from this chart. Mr. Green did more, had a more encompassing and comprehensive review than any of the witnesses here. And back to Exhibit 1, he did 2 more steps in his methodology than everyone else. So 1 through 5 of the methodology, everybody did. 6 is analyze overall user activity, artifacts of interest, timelines of interest, and anomalies such as deleted data. 7, reporting as appropriate pertinent artifacts, other artifacts. For this motion, Mr. Green did 6 and 7, and no other witness did that. The issue in this case as to whose interpretation is correct is an opinion issue. It is not a methodology issue. And Mr. Green makes that very, very clear in his affidavit that the difference is in opinions. Interestingly, on the very key subject of whether the artifact and the interpretation of it is a difference in methodology, a difference in application of methodology, or an opinion, which is not the subject of a Dalbert Lanigan hearing. Opinion.
Oh my God, Rose Lee gifted 5 memberships. Thank you. I could listen to Will say Guarino all night. Guarino, 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 Guarino. Oye, Guarino, ven a comer. Ya, ven a comer. Guarino, Guarino.
Opinions or not. Here's what Mr. Whiffen had to say about the issue. This is Exhibit 2 to our opposition. It's the June 17, 2024 testimony of Mr. Whiffen, page 1-10, starting on lines 14 to question. And what, if anything, did you find with regard to the web history artifacts? Answer. This is Mr. Whiffen. So the 22740 timestamp was correct insofar as that is the time that is shown within the database. It was indeed a deleted record. But the interesting thing was why the timestamp said 22740. And I did some testing on this and discovered the reason why 22740 was actually.
Yeah, that was Guarino's mom calling him home for supper, bro. Okay? Because, and yes, she referred to him by his last name because she didn't like him. That's. So his mom would call out for him when he was outside playing with his friends for dinner, and she would say, Guarino, venga a comer. Ya entra a la casa. Guarino. Gatling gun dystopian approach. Thank you so much. You should say Guarino with an Italian accent. I can't. I don't speak Italian. Guarino. Okay, yeah, there we go. All right, I think that's close enough. Guarino.
Listed in the database, even though that's not the time, here's the key, in my opinion, that the search was conducted. So Mr. Green's opinion is, after applying the methodology that everybody agrees to, after using the same tools as every other witness for the Commonwealth used plus more, Mr. Green's opinion is, to a reasonable degree of scientific certainty, that that search and that record that everybody saw at the time of trial, at 22740, House Long to Die in the Cold, Mr. Green says it means what it says. The search occurred at that time. Now, the Commonwealth, in its recent reports, and they did this also at trial, they said, yeah, we see it. It's in there. Ms. Hyde said, I see it. It's not only in there in Celebrite Physical Analyzer. I used Axiom, just like Mr. Reed. Mr. Whiffen didn't use Axiom. Ms. Hyde said, and I'm going to point to it specifically.
Yeah, he slept and said Mr. Reed when he meant to say Mr. Green.
Shows it. You see it. It's not only in there in Celebrite Physical Analyzer. I used Axiom, just like Mr. Reed. Mr. Whiffen didn't use Axiom. Ms. Hyde said, and I'm going to point to it specifically, Axiom shows it as a 220, that search is a 224. In fairness to trying to get the best decision for Your Honor here, they disagreed, Mr. Whiffen and Ms. Hyde, as to whether that meant the search actually occurred at 22740. That's the opinion that's disputed. So in fairness to the issue and accuracy, those witnesses diverted at the end as to whether what that timestamp showed, 22740 a.m., did the search really occur then, or as the Commonwealth said, did it occur at 6:23 in the morning? Mr. Whiffen says it's a difference of opinion because he says it's my opinion.
Oh, here we go.
I think we got a super dad. Super dad. I think we got a super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Super dad. 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 I think we got a super dad.
How dare you?
There you go, Jenny Lee. You think Bev likes Alessi because he's awesome? I feel like I know Bev liked that other dude. Fuck, I already forgot his name. The dude that argued the appellate attorney. I can't remember his name right now, but she loved that guy. That guy was smooth, man. So comforting hearing that guy talk. He was so nice. He had such a nice demeanor.
This motion tries to make it seem like it's an issue of fact.
Weinberg, yeah, Weinberg. Thank you.
Well, Mr. Green's got a lot of facts, and he also, of course, has an opinion. So what we have from these two demonstrative exhibits, Your Honor, is a statement of the methodology in Exhibit 1 that every witness agrees to. Not only is it Mr. Green put a methodology, but we prove up in the opposition that there's no dispute. What's interesting, Your Honor, and I think quite remarkable, is that neither Mr. Whiffen in his 40-plus page report of December 24, nor Ms. Hyde in her December 24 4-page report, neither one of them say Mr. Green's doesn't have a methodology. They don't say we dispute his methodology.
Right.
The Commonwealth's attorneys that are making that dispute.
Right.
And that is not appropriate. It's got to be your expert. And I think there's a reason why the experts of the Commonwealth are not talking about methodology.
That right there, people, what he just explained, what he just described is dirty, underhanded shit. Why do you have the experts? The experts are supposed to tell you. The experts are supposed to explain to you why things are the way they are. That's their job, right? Why are you controlling what the experts do and say? That shows that you only have those experts there for show so that you could say our experts disagree with the defense's expert. So that right there is it is an absolute prime example of smoke and mirrors. It's an absolute prime example of smoke and mirrors by the prosecution, which shouldn't be taking place by the prosecution. The prosecution should be focused on putting forth a solid case against Karen Reed, not this bullshit. Why is the Commonwealth trying to control what their own experts say on the stand? And why have the experts changed their reports? Why have their methods changed from before the trial to now this one? Why? What's up, Mizzy? Good to see you.
You're saying there's a dispute because it's objectively verifiable that there's not a dispute over the methodology. What is also important.
And I know all my Scots were here at one point. So if they're all in here again, what's up, Scots? Good to see you guys.
Oh, here we go.
I think we got a super cat. Super cat. I think we got a super cat. Super cat. Super cat. Super cat. I think we got a super cat.
How dare you?
Joanna Beaupre. I don't know how to say your name. Beaupre. Do you think Beverly's new softer hair color made her become less of a biatch? No. No. Not at all. You remember when Marsha Clark changed her hair in the middle of the OJ trial? Remember that when that happened? She felt all confident, went in there with a fucking Jerry curl. She went in there. She fucking went in there letting her soul glow. She went in there letting her soul glow, and then all the papers, people were like, what the fuck? All the papers trashed her. That's a bummer, man. I feel so bad, dude. Like women, that's one of the things that women do, man. Like, to really treat themselves nice, man. They do things to like boost up their appearance and shit. You know what I mean? And so, like, when that gets shit on, God, that's got to be fucking devastating, dude. You know, it shouldn't be, because, you know, like, we don't really worry about that shit. You know, like a guy is an asshole and he's looking at you and going, dude, what the fuck is up with your fucking hair, dude? You know what I mean? Like, I'm the kind of guy, like, seriously, like, you know, one thing that I dig, like, I'll let you guys on a little secret about me. One thing that I dig is, like, the effort that women put into, like, their nails. I know that's kind of weird. I'm not into feet pedicures and all that shit. I'm not into feet at all. Feet are fucking gross to me. But, like, and it's not a sexual thing either. I just think it's attractive, right? When a woman puts that much effort into her nails, because they do some cool fucking shit, man. They paint these crazy different designs on them and shit like that, man. You know, it's you know, sometimes they're a little too much. You got these fucking, you got diamond studs all over them and all, you know, that's a lot. You know what I mean? But it's like, when a woman puts that kind of effort, it's attractive. It's nice, you know, it's pleasant. Oh, always, Shannon, please. But yeah, I feel like maybe she feels like her confidence is a thing right now. Like, this is my new debut. I got my new color, y'all. Hello everyone. Please have a seat. Drink in my new hair color. Thank you. She was totally thinking that.
Is what has happened since the trial. And what I want to do is give a baseline of the trial, because I think it underscores the two issues that Your Honor have in front of you: qualifications and methodology. And the qualifications, all I'm going to say about that is Mr. Green has 25 years of experience in computer forensics, and he has 18 years in digital forensics. And the 18 is only because digital forensics became a thing 18 years old. There can be no dispute, and I think that's why the Commonwealth didn't really say anything about it, is because if you lay down Mr. Green's experience next to Mr. Whiffen, Mr. Green testified 23 times as a qualified digital forensic expert in 7 different states. Mr. Whiffen, he's testified in 2 states, one of which was here, and he does not have anywhere near the years of experience. Here's another very important point: certifications. Mr. Green lists 3 certifications. He lists an enormous amount of—
This is my favorite part.
Constant updating. And I just want to state a point about digital forensic experts. They're not like medical doctors where you see people with PhDs, etc. These are folks that keep updated because the computers change so much. So that's why you see such a great listing of Mr. Green in terms of his training and certificates, etc. However, if you compare Mr. Whiffen's qualifications to Mr. Green, and I'm again going to use Mr. Whiffen's own words with regard to his qualifications on his June 7th, this is again Exhibit 2 to our opposition, his June 17th trial testimony, page 1-6. Question, and this is a question from Mr. Lau. Now, with regard to your education in this area, what, if any, certifications do you have? Answer, no specific certifications. I've done the Celebrite course since joining Celebrite.
So right there, literally, he is quoting from the last trial, the transcript of Adam Lally asking Ian Whiffen, his own expert, the Commonwealth's own expert, on the stand, what certifications do you have? And Ian Whiffen answers, none. None. And the Commonwealth is now trying to argue that Richard Green is not qualified, even though he holds 3 certifications just to start with, and he has to update those certifications all the time because programs update. Software updates. Therefore, the tools update, meaning that he has to update his training on the updated tools. He has to keep up with this. So, right here, this Bob Alessi, Karen Reed's defense attorney, is arguing an unlosable argument. If the Commonwealth is trying to determine that Richard Green is not qualified, yet he holds all of these certifications and keeps up with them. And his own expert holds no certifications? None? Zero? Zip? Zilch? Get real, dude.
Get the fuck out! Other than the
Serious.
3-week course in Ottawa, and then again, the 2-week course in Ottawa, those are police training things we use policemen. I don't have the SANS training or any of that kind of training certifications. Now,
Wow.
I'm not here today to challenge Mr. Whiffin's qualifications, but how could it possibly be asserted that Mr. Green's not qualified if these are the qualifications of Mr. Whiffin? With regard to what has changed since the first trial, and I think this is incredibly important with regard to the methodology inquiry of Your Honor. I went through on Exhibit 1 the methodology that everybody agrees to, but the court doesn't have to take my word for it on this demonstrative exhibit because Ms. Hyde gives the best explication of the methodology that Mr. Green used because she used the same one before trial and at trial, but she's now narrowed it for purposes of a report, and I'm going to state and show exactly how. So Exhibit 4 to our opposition, Your Honor, is the May 2023 Digital Forensics Analysis Report of Jessica Hyde. And in that report, on page 3, she talks about, under forensic analysis, that she used, it's the exact same methodology.
What are you, I thought you said Exhibit 4. Exhibit 4 is a transcript. It's a transcript of Ms. Hyde, but it's not a report.
Okay, my fault, we have different numbering, but I'll go to the transcript. I'm going to go to the transcript with regard to, yeah.
I'm happy to look at the report if that's what you're referencing.
I'm
Where
going to
do
go
I
to the
find
report
it?
next, but if Your Honor's already at the, I can do it either way. If Your Honor is at the transcript, I'll go to the transcript right now. This is the June 14th transcript, Your Honor, of Jessica Hyde.
Yes.
Thank you. So we're just, and please keep in mind that in Mr. Hyde's 2024 report, that Mr. Whiffin's report that is now before you, Mr. Whiffin only used in his analysis now Celebrite Physical Analyzer and Ardex, his own tool. He only used 2 tools. Ms. Hyde, in her 2024 report, which I will get to, is now down to just using 1 tool,
Boom.
Celebrite Physical Analyzer, because she states that's the only one I was asked to look at. So the Commonwealth.
She even says it in her report. She even says it in her report. Jessica Hyde, the Commonwealth's own expert, who was hired by the Commonwealth to disprove the 2:27 a.m. search, to prove that it didn't happen. She states in her initial report before the first trial that it is wise to employ multiple different tools to reach an accurate conclusion. And then in this report, filed in December of 2024, just last month, filed in December of 2024, she states that she only used 1 tool, the 1 tool that we know that the 2:27 a.m. search does not show up anymore. The only tool where that one search does not show up anymore. And it just so happens that the other expert works for them and did an update, and that's why it no longer shows up anymore. And she states, this is the most important part, she states that she only uses this 1 tool because that is what the Commonwealth instructed her to do. Don't use those other tools, only use this one. We only need this tool and those results. We don't need you to use those other tools. How can you be expected to provide an accurate conclusion, an accurate opinion as an expert if you are used to, and you know that the proper methodology would be to apply multiple different tools to reach a more accurate result? And then decide that that's no longer necessary. after the first trial takes place. This is the most important piece of exculpatory evidence in Karen Reed's case. The defense needs to prove to a jury that 2:27 a.m. search happens, and the prosecution needs to stop that from happening. And that is what's going on here. And everything that the prosecution is showing is that effort to stop and block this from happening. Any experts that the defense hires, they want to block them. They want to stop Karen Reed from being able to present a defense. What's up, James Jackson? Good to see you, buddy.
Went and narrowed the request of Ms. Hyde to just Celebrite Physical Analyzer. And what is going on here? It's very obvious. The Commonwealth is ignoring in its 2024 December reports all the other tools. Even though those tools show this timestamp of 2:27:40 still at that time, they now just ignore it and go to the Celebrite Physical Analyzer. That it's undisputed that Celebrite went back and changed it in the middle of the first trial with regard to one physical analyzer program. And then after the trial, the other physical analyzer program, they went and changed that and took it off. But in contrast, Axiom that Ms. Hyde used before still shows the timestamp. It's undisputed that that's the case. And it's undisputed because they don't contest it that Mr. Green went and looked at it in Belkasoft, Sanderson. He did a manual, he did a low-level analysis, and in every one of those tools, the timestamp still occurs. So now back to the transcript. Your Honor, I am looking at the question of, and this is, again, a significant point, is it better to use more tools? It's common sense. That's what Mr. Green says. That's what Ms. Hyde did the first time, but now all of a sudden she's down to just one tool that unilaterally removed the timestamp. So here is the page of the transcript of what Ms. Hyde had to say. Page 1-13, Your Honor.
Okay.
Line 4, question, again, of Mr. Lowell. Now, with reference to the tools that you use that you just went through, are those fairly common tools? Are those tools that are commonly used within your industry? Answer, yes. And what are those tools that she talks about above? Starts on page 1-2. Celebrite Physical Analyzer, Magnet Axiom, Artex, iLeap, and I later used Sanderson Forensic SQ-Lite. Those are 4 of the tools that Mr. Green used, and he used more. So her answer is, now with reference to the tools, are those tools that are commonly used within your industry? Answer, yes. They are commonly used digital forensic tools that are very standard for other forensic examiners to use on mobile exploitation. It gets better for the defense. Next question, line 15. So different forensic tools, question, and why were you using the different tools? So different forensic tools have different capabilities and look at data a little bit differently. Skip down. Commercial forensic tools that they can only support so many applications. So they each work and support different bits of data. Here's the key point, line 22. This is Ms. Hyde's words, under oath. So it's important to use multiple tools so you can see the results from different different data sets, and be able to compare those results and enhance those with manual analysis. Next page. Question, and with respect to, and this will be the last question and answer, and with respect to using those sort of different variety of tools, Celebrite, to Axiom, to Artex, etc., is that something you typically do as far as your normal process of documenting a forensic analysis? Answer. Yeah, that is very, very typical for me to process with multiple tools to ensure that I'm getting the most complete interpretations from forensic tools. Of course, you go beyond that with your analysis, but it's absolutely pertinent. And down below, he asked me to explain the interplay of these tools in analysis, and her answer is strikingly the same as Mr. Green in his affidavit.
That's Jessica Hyde's sworn testimony in a murder trial that just took place, saying that how important it is to use multiple tools. Let's hear what she said again, because compare what you hear her say here to what her report states according to the defense here in her December 2024 report, which I would love to get a hold of.
The most complete interpretations, typical answer. Yeah, that is very, very typical for me to process with multiple tools to ensure that I'm getting the most complete interpretations from forensic tools. Of course, you go beyond that with your analysis, but it's absolutely pertinent. And
beyond it.
He asked me to explain.
But it's absolutely pertinent.
And her answer is,
you apply different tools, and of course you go beyond that, because it's absolutely pertinent to getting a proper analysis. This is the Commonwealth's own witness testifying under oath in open court that this is how it's done. And then in her December 2024 report, she says, boom. And I believe that she says this. I will give her that much credit. I believe that she says that the Commonwealth instructed her to do this in her report just so she doesn't look incompetent, because that would make her look incredibly incompetent. This woman has a reputation to uphold. She has her own software company, which I believe was her motive for even using this in the first place. I believe that she thought this testifying for the Commonwealth in a high-profile case, being hired to testify, would be a good way to plug her business. That's what I believe. But she doesn't want to look incompetent. She didn't realize what she bit off here. She didn't realize it, because now she's in a position to where she might look incompetent. Now she's like, nope, fuck that. All I did was test to celebrate, because that's what they fucking told me to do. My hands are clean. Matt B, thank you. Will Richard Green's arrest and delinquencies lead to his disqualification? Seems Kate and Plevin are spreading this info. Yeah, I saw that. I think he had like a DUI or something like that. I mean, dude, Chris Albert fucking killed a guy, dude. So I don't think I don't think she gets to do that. I don't think that she's going to disqualify him based on that. Again, if she does that, I'm going to say she's fucking corrupt. That's not changed.
The same as Mr. Green in his affidavit in our opposition. Her answer: the Sanderson's tool, which Mr. Green and Ms. Hyde used, but Mr. Whiffen didn't, is meant to look at specific type of data structures called the SQLite database. SQLite databases are
and one thing has nothing to fucking do with the other, dude. One thing has nothing to do with the other. If that shit happened years ago, it's completely unrelated to his expertise. You know what I mean? Like, think about that shit. Think about that. Like, if a guy who's a roofer, a professional roofer, gets a DUI and there's a murder case, he's an expert roofer, and there's a murder case where a roof malfunction would be part of the evidence in that case, should he not be allowed to testify because he had a DUI at some point? Is he less of an expert on roofs if he had a DUI? No. It means dick. Right. And she's going to have to. But she's going to have to testify, yeah, it's because the Commonwealth told me to do this. Because what happens is once Alessi cross-examines Hyde, he's going to go, well, what would you do? I'm not asking what the Commonwealth asked you to do. I'm asking, in order for you to reach a plausible conclusion, a sound analysis, would you just use this one tool, or would you employ multiple tools in order to get a more accurate analysis? She's stuck. Jessica Hyde's going to have no choice but to go, yeah, I would personally would absolutely employ multiple tools. And it was dismissed. So no charges to Green. So that means the dude doesn't even have a fucking record. So no conviction. We're good. Either way. So doesn't matter. So, I mean, that right there just tells you everything that Plevin and fucking Krusty Panties are just hanging on to. Like, that's their argument? That's the best they got? Matt B, new member, thank you so much, man. Welcome to Logic. Please appreciate you, buddy.
Particular tool allows you to take that database and explore it at a deeper level than the other forensic tools allow. Mr. Whiffen didn't use the Sanderson tool. So here we have Ms. Hyde, and in her report of 5/23/2024, her first report, and I'm going to get to her report here, she basically goes through and documents this methodology, and she documents the use of those tools. And
even if it was dismissed, it stays on record. Like, even if it was dismissed, there's like police reports are forever. You know what I mean?
She also documents that she saw the house long
mug shots. That's all.
In every single tool.
Like, I don't have a record, but you'll see my mugshot all over Twitter. But I don't have a record.
She used. Where she diverted from Mr. Green was her opinion as to whether that timestamp meant the search occurred at that time or did it occur sometime later. That's an opinion issue again, and Mr. Whiffen agrees it's an opinion issue in that regard. So now let's come to where we are for this motion and what was submitted by the Commonwealth. And I want to first go to the report of Ms. Hyde now. It's Exhibit 4 to the Commonwealth's motion. And it's entitled Digital Forensics Analysis Report. And there's been much said in the Commonwealth's argument this morning about allegations made by Mr. Green, which are all supported.
Clever.
Every single one supported with facts. But what the Commonwealth didn't tell the court is what the request was of Ms. Hyde. I just went through all the tools she used, why she used them, why she said.
Robin G, thank you so much. Member for 9 months. Awesome. I love how Alessi throws shit from last hearing out as facts, and Hank is like, no fair. I haven't watched it yet. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Best practices. Why you use all these tools? What does she do now in December of 2024 to assist in the myopic approach of the Commonwealth to say, here's our studies. We only look at Celebrite Physical Analyzer, and it's gone. The search is gone, right? And we know why it's gone, because Celebrite, Mr. Whiffen, concedes that he went back and talked to the researchers. And what we have, Your Honor, is a total black box. And I'm going to point it out in a moment. Why is this no longer appearing on Celebrite Physical Analyzer? We don't know the answer.
Now, I just had a thought. I just had an apostrophe. I think you mean an epiphany. Lightning has just struck my brain. That must hurt. What movie? What movie? So we're all sitting around wondering why the defense hasn't filed this motion to dismiss yet, even though we know, and they have stated in writing in another motion that they, or an opposition motion, that they plan on filing a motion to dismiss. And Bev is waiting on that motion. And I just realized that they're probably waiting to file that motion to dismiss for Judge Bev's decision about Judge Bev's decision on their motion to recover and recoup expenses from the Commonwealth for expenses spent on their expert to fly all the way out and meet up with what's her fucking face, Colleen, whatever the fuck. And she played dumb and wasted everybody's time and wasted Karen Reed's money. So I think they're waiting on that decision. And I think they're also probably waiting on this decision to see if she allows Richard Green to testify. Because Richard Green, once Richard Green is allowed to testify, there is almost no chance that a jury is going to buy Brennan's bullshit about the 2:27 a.m. search. That 2:27 a.m. search and Richard Green's testimony on it and the way that he's going to explain it, it's going to simplify what happened versus a whole bunch of double talk that the jury's not going to understand. Brennan's going to try to confuse the jury, and Alessi and Richard Green are going to be able to explain to the jury exactly what needs to be done, or exactly what all of this means, and exactly why the Commonwealth is full of shit, and exactly why that 2:27 a.m. search did indeed happen and was deleted. Out of 4,560 other searches, that was the one that was deleted and showed up deleted on Jen McCabe's phone. That cannot be a coincidence. That, along with the very, very, very detailed explanation that Richard Green will put out there, the Commonwealth can't fight against that. You get a jury made up of common sense people, and they're going to go, she totally Googled 2:27 a.m. Along with all of the other information, along with the other stuff that's going to solidify this 2:27 a.m. search evidence. What's going to happen is all of the facts about Jen McCabe, the 911 call, she's going to look real bad there. Her running into the house when she could have run into the house when she first got there to grab blankets, to do everything she could to help John O'Keefe. She didn't do, but she ran into the house later after nobody but Canton police officers were left. Not to mention the phone calls and her lying on the stand. All of these things are going to make that 2:27 a.m. search and Richard Green as the anchor for it, as the caboose, all of those things, and Richard Green's testimony about the 2:27 a.m. search is at the very minute least enough to create doubt where Karen Reed would absolutely be acquitted by a jury full of common sense people. Guaranteed. Saying he's dead in the 911 call, exactly, Microdots. There's too much. A jury of common sense will look at this Jen McCabe thing, the aspect of all of this, and absolutely acquit her. I mean, unanimously, dude. They will. I just don't see how they wouldn't. So, I think that's why. I think that right there gives the defense so much leverage that they're waiting for this decision, these two decisions from Beverly Cannoni. Richard Green being able to testify again in this trial, and the ruling on whether or not the Commonwealth owes Karen Reed her expenses recouped for her expert, where they just completely wasted their time. And I don't see how you could dispute that. I just don't see it. Because if they could provide proof that Colleen Crawford was supposed to be there and they had contacted each other, guarantee it happened through email. Defense isn't stupid. I guarantee you that there was an email exchange, some sort of exchange in writing, with a digital footprint between Colleen Crawford and somebody on Karen Reed's defense team, establishing when they were going to meet with Karen Reed's defense expert at the Canton police station, and then that very person that they exchanged emails with or whatever correspondence in writing with played stupid once that expert got there and was like, I didn't know I was supposed to meet anybody. Then what the fuck are you doing at the Canton police station at the time that we're supposed to meet when you don't even work here? You work for Michael Morrissey's Norfolk County DA's office. That's your home base. And then we've also got Colleen Crawford donating money since 2015 a subordinate of Michael Morrissey, donating money consistently since 2015 to Michael Morrissey. Her subordinate to her superior donating money. People, I think that these things are what, because again, Kara Reed's camp does not trust Judge Beverly Cannoni at this point. I guarantee you, they would be stupid to. I'm not even a lawyer, but if I was a lawyer, what I'd be thinking is in terms of appeals. I would be ready to appeal decisions. Because I can't count on Judge Beverly Cannoni to make a sound decision in the interest of justice. So if I'm them, I'm making moves based on what's going to strengthen their appeals. And if she makes these decisions and this goes to trial after they've filed their motion to dismiss, they're going to be able to present in an appellate court. Mr. Weinberg is going to be able to say, it doesn't make sense, your appellate court. It doesn't make sense that all of these facts happened and then the judge ruled against the defense. All of these things absolutely happened. Here's all the proof. Why wasn't this case dismissed? This case should have been dismissed based on all of these things. Jennifer McCabe absolutely did that 2:27 a.m. search. And somebody fucking deleted it, and my money's on Guarino. 4,560 searches. One was deleted, and it was the only search in question.
Sir, all it is stated is a bold conclusory statement that it's no longer reliable. That's it. We don't know why it's no longer reliable, but we know it's gone. And Mr. Whiffen never says, even though it's gone in one, he doesn't even address the other 4 or 5 tools where it still appears. It still appears. Now to Ms. Hyde. Disquietingly, on page 3, look at the request, please. The request was to understand.
Let's see. Let's not forget, 2 months after Haas Long was made public was the first time Jen McCabe claimed I hit him under oath. Yeah, good point. Talk about projecting guilt. Totally. Yeah, great point. Great point. Thank you, Kristen. I appreciate you.
And changes made in newer versions of Celebrite Physical Analyzer to artifacts pertaining to the timeline of a Google search on January 29, 2022, namely, House Long to Die in Cold. That is stunning. The request to her was simply to look at one tool that everybody knew by then Celebrite had deleted in their program. She then looks at evidence analyzed, second paragraph. This full file system image was processed with Celebrite Physical Analyzer, version blah, 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 decoding engine, etc. Where is her analysis of Axiom that was in her May 2023 report? Where is her analysis of Sanderson? Where is her other analysis that if she went and did it, she would have to say it's still there? So what she goes on to say is very interesting, but it's buried, and here's what it is on page 4. After she goes through and states what everybody knows is Celebrate just went back and for some reason deleted it, she says under the chart, while manual analysis of the database still shows a 2:27:40 a.m. ET timestamp, the determination in prior analyses and through Celebrite is that this timestamp does not demonstrate that the URL was visited at the time of the last visit timestamp. So here she did a manual analysis, and it still shows up, but she doesn't explain the significance of that. If we want to talk about reliability, Your Honor, the real question should be the reliability of the prosecution's witnesses in Celebrite Physical Analyzer.
So are you telling me that we should have a hearing?
Your Honor, there's no need to have a hearing, and here's why. There's no need for a hearing because there's no disagreement on the Daubert issues.
See,
the dispute.
That curveball right there. Did you see that curveball that Bev just threw at Alessi? And Alessi wasn't really ready for it. Why is the judge throwing curveballs? I find that to be very telling. I could be overthinking it, but seeing as I don't trust Beverly Cannoni at all, I'm going to say that is a sign of showing bias, because she didn't interrupt Brennan at all while he was presenting his case. While he was presenting his argument, she didn't interrupt him at all. But I think that this is very telling. Thank you, Microdots. I think it's very telling. And she saw an opportunity to like trip him up. So you're saying we should have a hearing then? Like, that's not what he said at all. Why are you arguing with him? He's supposed to be arguing with the Commonwealth, not the judge. Why is the judge arguing with him? Why is the judge trying to throw curveballs at him? That is what makes me think she's fucking dirty. That shit is infuriating, because you see Alessi's reaction here. I don't think that he was tripped up by the question. I think he was tripped up by the fact that the judge just threw him a curveball and not the Commonwealth. She never does it to prosecutors. Agreed. Watch Alessi's shock. He doesn't know what to do. And we've seen Jackson and Yannetti react to this. We've seen Eliza Little react in this way too, where Judge Bev does practically the same thing. We've seen it. Where Jackson is just like dumbfounded, dude. Alan Jackson is just like, Your Honor, because they don't want to start an argument, and they have to a certain degree, have to kiss her ass, which must be the worst fucking part of being a defense attorney in this case. Having to swallow that bullshit on a constant basis and tiptoe and walk on eggshells with her because she is looking for any reason to reprimand, because she takes every opportunity to reprimand the defense in any way she can. Verbally, I don't mean that she, but she does this. She scolds them as often as she can. And look at what she does here. That's Alessi's face right there when she says that. Like, what the fuck is going on right now?
Significance of that. If we want to talk about reliability, Your Honor, the real question should be the reliability of the prosecution's witnesses and Celebrite physical analyzer.
So you're telling me that we should have a hearing?
Your Honor, there's no need to have a hearing, and here's why.
Look at Esty looking at Bev.
There's no need for a hearing because there's no disagreement.
Danny Thomas, welcome to Logic, buddy.
The dispute over what is the interpretation of this data, what are the people's opinions, is never one for Dauber. If that were the case, there'd be a Dauber hearing on every disagreement on the Dauber issue. There's no need for a hearing. Your Honor, there's no need to have a hearing, and here's why. Celebrite physical analyzer.
So
watch how he's just fucking tripped up by this. He's like, what in the fuck is happening right now? So he's got to think like he had to, like, I picture if I'm crawling around in his mind, I'm picturing him about to say, why are you arguing with me? And then stopping himself from saying that. And then how do I respond to this without being combative towards the judge in this presiding over this case? How do I do that? And he just had to think quickly and do that. That's crazy. Watch right here. Here we go.
You telling me that we should have a hearing?
Your Honor, there's no need to have a hearing, and here's why.
He said, here's why, to buy himself time. That totally just fucking happened. Your Honor, there's no need to have a hearing, and here's why. he had to buy himself fucking time because he's trying to process the fact that this judge just threw this fucking curveball at him. And why did that happen? Why did that just happen? So he's like, how the fuck do I respond to this? And as he's trying to figure out, in order to figure out and buy himself time to figure out how to respond to it, he goes, well, and there's no need to have a hearing, and here's why. Dude, I do that shit all the time when I have brain farts. All the time. The Gatling gun. Thank you, buddy. That's how we do things in Massachusetts, Mr. Glare. Yes, that's how we do things in Massachusetts, Mr. Glare. Thanks, buddy. Look at him. Look at him. Look at him.
Here's why. There's no need for a hearing because there's no disagreement on the Daubert issues.
Exactly. Like, he already knew that was the response. He was trying to wrap his head around why he was being asked this question by the fucking judge. Like, that's crazy. I mean, because that's the obvious answer. No, there's no need to have a fucking hearing because everybody fucking agrees on the methodology. We're trying to decide whether or not to have a hearing to decide whether or not this man is qualified as an expert, yet he's more qualified on paper than the Commonwealth's own witness and their own expert. A, to begin with. B, they agree. The defense's expert agrees with the Commonwealth's experts' methodologies. They all agree on the methodology. So there's no need to have a hearing. That's the whole point.
The dispute over what is the interpretation of this data, or what are the people's opinions, is never one for Daubert. If that were the case, there'd be a Daubert hearing on every expert, because experts, almost by definition on each side, disagree on the opinions. We don't need a hearing, Your Honor, because they agree on the methodology. They agree that more tools are better. They agree that the difference is at the very end of the analysis, which is the opinion. So in terms of
in short, the Commonwealth's two experts agree with the defense's expert methodology, with his habits and methodology. So why the fuck are we here? In a nutshell, that's essentially what Alessi's argument here is. Why the fuck are we here right now if the Commonwealth's own experts agree with the tools and agree with the methodology applied by the defense's expert? Why are we even here questioning his expertise? That makes no fucking sense. It shows that the Commonwealth just doesn't like the answer coming from the defense. Just doesn't like the answer coming from the defense's expert. That's what that shows. They have a problem with his result. They have a problem with the fact that he's going to go, I applied. It makes more sense. Dude, you're going to apply. Anybody with a fucking job that's sitting on that jury is going to agree with Richard Green. Anybody with a fucking job that's sitting on that jury is going to go, okay, well, I mean, yeah, it makes perfect sense. If I'm if I've got a problem and I'm trying to figure out what the problem is, I'm going to apply all kinds of different methods to troubleshoot that problem. I'm going to apply different tools to troubleshoot that problem in order to get the proper result, in order to get the best possible, most accurate result. Dude, what do you do when you get diagnosed with cancer? You go get a second opinion, sometimes even a third or fourth, right? So that you know beyond a reasonable doubt that you have cancer. You don't just take one doctor's word for it. So why the fuck should an expert take Celebrite's word and not and not apply the other tools and see if he gets the same result? And not to mention, the guy is experienced in doing exactly this, finding these kind of inconsistencies and finding nefarious behavior within those inconsistencies, seeing if those inconsistencies indicate nefarious behavior, nefarious and underhanded behavior, cover-ups, somebody trying to delete data. This is his job. And he explained in his affidavit, he explained why he believes that this evidence was absolutely tampered with. And that this 2:27 a.m. search absolutely fucking happened. Because that's another thing the jury's going to have to hear. The jury's going to have to hear that not only did the 2:27 a.m. search happen, but it was deliberately covered up by the tech expert at the Massachusetts State Police, by the forensics analyzer, Trooper Guarino, at the Massachusetts State Police, that it was absolutely manipulated. And the jury's going to hear that on top of seeing the evidence of the Sally Port and what happened with the Sally Port footage. And the fact that the original data with the metadata for it is gone. All of these things a jury is going to put together. And they will unanimously acquit Karen Reed. And the Commonwealth absolutely knows this. And they can't even call up their own lead investigator in the case to testify, because he's being reprimanded by the Massachusetts State Police due to misconduct and how he handled this case. What else do you need? This case should absolutely be dismissed.
Issues with regard to Mr. Green's report, which is my final point to get to. There's been so many mischaracterizations by the Commonwealth this morning of what Mr. Green did and what he said. So what does he do? He says, and Your Honor, digital forensic analysts are the equivalent of a medical examiner.
There you go.
Their job is to apply the methodology that is agreed to. Their job is to use the tools, everybody agrees on it, and then they're to give opinions on what those mean. And everybody here has the same data, right? Everyone's got the same data that they're using, so there's no dispute over that. The Commonwealth said that there's no factual basis for what Mr. Green did. There's a factual basis for everything, and it's undisputed. So everyone has the same data, and this I call the NB postulate. And the NB postulate is, why are people using different tools, etc.? Is because nobody has the source code for the Apple phones. So you use these tools to try to help interpret what these source codes mean. And it's an accepted.
I mean, I'm not a fucking lawyer. Judge Bev's a fucking judge and a lawyer. You don't get to being a judge without being a fucking lawyer, dude. Judge Bev absolutely knows what Brennan is trying to do here. She has to see right through it. She knows exactly. I'm not going to be fooled for 1 second that she doesn't know what's going on here. Vinnie Politan even knows what the fuck is going on here. He just won't say the words, "I believe Karen Reed is innocent," out loud on court TV or on his own channel. And I'm determined to get him to say it. I'm determined to get him to say it before her acquittal, her inevitable acquittal. So I'm telling you, if Vinnie Politan is fucking bursting at the seams, if he is sitting there going, fuck, I know Karen Reed is innocent, but I can't say it if I don't say it soon. If that's happening, Judge Bev knows. Judge Bev knows. She knows what Brennan's the kind of shit he's pulling here. She knows she's running a fucking sham.
Methodology to do it. But the data, once it's produced, and we have an issue about what happened before it got produced, but in terms of the methodology that was applied here in the tools, there is no disagreement. So what, Your Honor, would an evidentiary hearing do? We're just going to come in and have witnesses talk about their difference of opinion? That's not what a Daubert is for. There's no basis for an evidentiary hearing because there's no dispute over the methodology. I've done a lot of Daubert hearings. I've never even gotten past a motion, let alone an evidentiary hearing, where the experts don't disagree on the methodology. So what is it that caused Mr. Green?
Boom, right there. He's never even seen a case where the experts don't disagree on the methodology. This is the first fucking case where all of the experts, the Commonwealth, the prosecution's experts and the defense's experts agree on the methodology. He's never seen that shit before. Isn't that, I don't know, fucking telling? At the very least, as to why the fuck we're even here. That's got to be telling. What case where the fucking experts from the prosecution and the defense all agree on the methodology? That doesn't fucking happen. It never happens. And my man is like, at the very least, like, why is it a question now? If they all agree, then why can't homie testify? And why are we going to hold a fucking hearing to decide why? We need a hearing? We need a hearing to fucking apply common sense.
To raise questions. And again, I said, data forensic examiners are just like the medical examiners. They don't look at just the body of the medical examiner. They look at circumstances surrounding it and all information. Well, that's what digital forensic examiners do, and that's what Mr. Green did. So there's great criticism of Mr. Green from doing what is proper for a digital forensic person. And it's a bit of a camouflage, respectfully, because the December 2024 reports of the Commonwealth now myopically go down to just one tool. So what did Mr. Green say that caused him to say, I think it strongly suggests that there's been manipulation here? He the fact that there's no hash value for the data. That's conceded. And when there's a issue over hash value, every single digital forensic expert.
That's conceded. That means that the prosecution even admits that the hash value was manipulated. The prosecution even admits that the band around the cap on the milk has been broken. Even the prosecution concedes to this. That means the evidence is no fucking good. That's what that means. That means that their little fucking, little Celebrite trick that they tried to pull is bullshit. Because not only does it prove that the 2:27 a.m. search happened, but it proves that somebody within the Massachusetts State Police tried to fucking cover it up. And in a real sloppy way, too.
is going to raise concerns about the validity of the data. And Mr. Whiffen is one of them who did that. Secondly, what Mr. Green pointed out on the issue of was this search deleted, there were 4,056 searches on the phone of Miss McCabe. 4,000.
Yeah, I got them. Thanks.
There was one deletion out of 4,056, and guess which one it was? House Whoa. Died in the cold. There are no odds.
Dude, one deletion.
That can happen randomly, that one search out of 4,056 is deleted. So what does Mr. Green say? He says that strongly suggests one of two things. Either there was user interaction deletion, or there was post-imaging manipulation of the data. He doesn't excuse.
Either way, it was manipulated. He's not accusing anybody of anything. He's just saying the shit was fucked with when I got it. When I got the shit, it was fucked with. That's all I'm trying to say. I don't know who the fuck did what. But it's the same thing. It's like, listen, I don't know who fucking killed John O'Keefe. All I know is he did not get hit by Karen Reed, by her vehicle, and he was inside that fucking house. It's the same thing. I don't know who did it. I'm not accusing anybody directly, except I am accusing Higgins. Me personally at this point. But a month ago, I was straight up saying, I don't know. I don't know who killed John O'Keefe. And I still don't know definitively, but I believe it. Balls to bone, I believe that Brian Higgins is the prime aggressor in the murder of Boston police officer John O'Keefe on the early morning hours of January 29th, 2022. And I believe that he simply, there were other people in that house that got involved that can be implicated, and therefore that became that created the initiative and the incentive to conspire to cover it up. Simple. Higgins had the motive. Higgins is on video being aggressive about it. Higgins text messages to Karen Reed that night. Higgins text message to John O'Keefe that night. And Higgins' lack of response to Karen Reed's text message when she says John's dead. Conveniently, this is when Higgins ghosts her. So yes, Higgins had the motive. And then there's him throwing away his phone. There's the butt dials at 2:22, just before Jennifer McCabe makes the 2:27 a.m. House Long to Die in Cold Google search or Safari search. But I digress. A month ago, it was the same. For me, it was the same scenario. A month ago, I was saying, I don't know who killed John O'Keefe. All I know is it wasn't Karen, it wasn't her SUV, and he was inside that house. So it had to have been somebody inside that house. And this dude is saying, here's the chain of custody as to when I received this data. Here's what I discovered when I got the data. And that's how I got it. It was absolutely fucking manipulated. And Trooper Guadino is the one who handed it to me. I'm not saying anybody fucking did anything. I'm just saying that's what happened.
Individuals. He says user interaction or post-imaging. That is the job of a digital forensic person to point that out and say that raises concern. The fact that there's only one deletion of a search out of 4,056, I think it's malpractice if a digital forensic examiner doesn't point that out. Another key thing he points out is an anomaly. The Commonwealth said there was a tab number for Hakamak Sports, in that they said it was the same tab number for how long to search or how long to die in the cold. But Mr. Green points out that's incorrect. They had two different tab numbers. So
there
that
you go.
theory of the prosecution can't be.
That right there, Richard Green proves that the Commonwealth story and Jen McCabe's story about that one tab is absolute bullshit. It's two different tabs, which also proves that Jen McCabe tried to cover up her Google search or her Safari search. She absolutely tried to cover it up by lying about it and saying, oh no, I was searching basketball scores. And when I was searching basketball scores at 2:27 a.m., that's why it showed up. That's why the Haas Long to Die in Cold magically grew a flux capacitor at 6:24 a.m. or whatever fucking time it was, 6:23 a.m. and then went back. The Haas Long to Die in Cold search that Karen Reed told me to search magically jumped back to 2:27 a.m. because it was on the same tab as the basketball scores. But it turns out that they were two separate tabs. Jennifer McCabe is fucking lying. Two separate tabs. How do we know this? Because Richard Green puts the ID numbers of the two different tabs in his report and in his sworn affidavit. Two different digital footprints. Two different digital fingerprints. Two different pieces of two different DNA profiles of tabs. Simple. This is what his job is to prove. Just like he said, it's the equivalent to a medical examiner. And those ID numbers are the equivalent to DNA for data. So if he found two different strands of DNA in that forensic data, that means that there are two different personalities, meaning two different tabs, meaning that the story about one tab just isn't accurate. It's a fucking lie.
Right. So Mr. Green wasn't hurling accusations. He was doing what data forensic examiners do, is pointing out all these anomalies. These aren't things you normally see, and they're not explainable. Here's the last point I'll make, which there's also agreement. There's this deletion of this one search. Mr. Whiffen can't explain why. He says, well, maybe it was a spontaneous deletion. There's no such thing in data forensics as spontaneous, and he doesn't cite any. Maybe it's because the search didn't load. Maybe it's because there was bad connectivity at where.
Yeah, except Jen McCabe made another search about how long to digest food at 6:23 a.m., meaning that she was getting service, meaning that the story about that it didn't finish loading is absolute bullshit. Because if that search loaded, then the one that took place at 2:27 a.m. absolutely fucking loaded. Absolutely fucking did.
Where this search occurred. Well, that's interesting because a harder thing to load, the image that came up with food, did load. So you got to have stronger connectivity to get an image that dense. So what Mr. Green simply points out is that doesn't make any sense either. That is the essence of Mr. Green's affidavit. And Your Honor, just to be clear, when we sent in the second affidavit of Mr. Green, we put in the cover, and Your Honor may not have gotten this, that it was to replace the first affidavit because there were some typos, et cetera, et cetera. So you'll see two dates of the affidavits, and it's the later date. I'm going to give you the specific one that controls.
No, I have both.
Okay, right. Yeah.
The second one on the body of it does not say it's a supplemental or anything. If it was in the cover letter, that's what they're both docketed. So they're both.
I was just going to say we wanted to have them both there.
So there's two major questions here that if I were a law tuber, I would be asking. A, why is the prosecution trying to question the reliability of a search, a Google search that takes place, when experts all agreed on the methodology and all agreed that the search was there initially? Why is the prosecution doing this? But more importantly, why is the prosecution not giving a sound explanation as to why the 227 search is no longer showing up on Celebrite? Why is the prosecution trying to confuse this issue? Why is the prosecution throwing smoke and mirrors on the 220? Why are they not only trying to discredit the integrity of this Google search, but why are they playing tricks to do it? Why are they doing underhanded things to do that? And then you would reach the next conclusion, which is, well, they're doing anything they can to get a win. Okay. Why are they doing that? Why aren't they acting in the interest of justice? Why are they so focused on a win versus getting to the truth? If this is about justice for Boston police officer John O'Keefe, then the prosecution should be spearheading the process to getting him justice, not diverting it. Decline. Thank you so much. Late start. Work comes first. Pay the bills. Love you, Will. I do not like the cunt word, but you say it like many of us wouldn't. There you go. Thank you so much. Why? If the prosecution is not trying to railroad Karen Reed, then why are they applying underhanded tricks to get her convicted? Obvious ones too, by the way. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to end this the argument from Alessi. I mean, we all understand that Alessi put on a great argument. We saw it earlier, but I need to manage time here. And I'm already going a little longer than I planned to originally. So, but there's more stuff that I want to go over. So Olivia posted something. And I want to read that. Olivia says, breaking the Commonwealth after paying an employee of Celebrite, a law enforcement-centric tool, to change a feature in an update to one of its programs to comport with their narrative that Jen McCabe's incriminating 2:27 a.m. Google search didn't happen. Subsequently, limited its request of its expert, Jessica Hyde, to have her conduct her new analysis using only this forensic tool. Interestingly, the Commonwealth's own experts, Ian Whiffen and Jessica Hyde, are both well aware of the necessity and importance of the DFIR industry standard of examining data using multiple different digital forensic tools for the sake of redundancy, accuracy, and comprehensiveness. Jessica Hyde testified to this at the first trial, and both have stated as such countless times across their respective careers in the DFIR space. This is supported by the fact that Jessica Hyde, in her initial analysis for the Commonwealth, did just that, used multiple different forensic tools. Shockingly, the Commonwealth has now asked its expert, Jessica Hyde, to abandon the very industry standard of using multiple digital forensic tools to analyze the data extraction of Jen McCabe's cell phone, to now using only one tool. The same tool and its specific quote-unquote update, Celebrite Physical Analyzer, INSIATS, which was changed without explanation by the Commonwealth's own expert, Ian Whiffen, only after they hired and paid him for their case. As can be seen in Jessica Hyde's original analysis and report, she employed the industry standard methodology of using multiple digital forensic tools. Specifically, Hyde's report states that beyond using Celebrite Physical Analyzer, the image was additionally processed with the following tools: Axiom, ArtX, An additional analysis of SQLite databases were performed using Sanderson Forensics browser for SQLite version 3.3.0. Inexplicably, in Hyde's new analysis and report for the Commonwealth, she now abandoned this industry standard methodology to obey the Commonwealth's direction and only use the digital forensic tool that gives the answer they want. An answer which was only effectuated after the Commonwealth paid the very person at that company to effectuate it. Beyond that, however, Hyde notes in her new report that she also conducted a manual analysis, and it was in that analysis that she still found the 2:27 a.m. timestamp confirming Jen McCabe's incriminating Google search, thus still being unable to rule this artifact out. Also of note, Ian Whiffen notably did not use several digital forensic tools in conducting this analysis. In fact, Whiffen only used two tools, Celebrite and his own tool, ArtX, both of which he has either direct control over or the ability to directly control the contents of which they report. Seems like a conflict of interest, don't you think? The Daubert-Lanigan challenge is premised in challenging an issue in an expert's qualifications based on the reliability of the methodologies they use. Richard Green, the defense expert, used several digital forensic tools to conduct his analysis, including the tools used by both Hyde and Whiffen, and more. And all of them confirmed Jen McCabe's 2:27 Google search and that it was deleted, or that it showed deleted. Specifically, Green states the data images have been processed and reviewed with Celebrite Physical Analyzer version blah, 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 and Axiom Forensics, blah, 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 blah. Additional forensic tools utilized include Belkasoft X, Sanderson SQLite, Forensic Explorer, and Stelhawk by Hawk Analytics. Additionally, at the first trial, Green testified to using even more tools, including Whiffen's ArtX. So if there is a question about the admissibility of expert testimony based on a Daubert-Lanigan challenge, the only experts who that is appropriately applied to are the Commonwealth's experts, both of which have abandoned and not employed the industry standard reliable methodologies in conducting digital forensic analysis.
2024 report, that Mr. Whiffen's report that is now before you, Mr. Whiffen only used in his analysis now Celebrite Physical Analyzer and ArtX, his own tool. He only used two tools. Ms. Hyde, in her 2024 report, which I will get to, is now down to just using one tool, Celebrite Physical Analyzer, because she states that's the only one I was asked to look at. So the Commonwealth went and narrowed the request of Ms. Hyde to just Celebrite Physical Analyzer. And what is going on here? It's very obvious. The Commonwealth is ignoring in its 2024 December reports all the other tools. Even though those tools show this timestamp of 22740 still at that time.
And hold on, because Olivia, the author of the tweet that I just read, is now in the chat, and I have her comment highlighted. We got to give it up for Olivia. Excellent tweet, Olivia, and I got to get you up here again one of these days.
They now just ignore it and go to the Celebrite Physical Analyzer. That it's undisputed that Celebrite went back and changed it in the middle of the first trial with regard to one physical analyzer program. And then after the trial, the other physical analyzer program, they went and changed that and took it off. But in contrast, Axiom, that Ms. Hyde used before, still shows the timestamp. It's undisputed that that's the case. And it's undisputed because they don't contest it, that Mr. Green went and looked at it in Belkasoft, Sanderson. He did a manual, he did a low-level analysis, and in every one of those tools, the timestamp still occurs. And down below, he asked me to explain the interplay of these tools in analysis, and her answer is strikingly the same as Mr. Green.
Strikingly the same.
The Sanderson's tool, which Mr. Green and Ms. Hyde used, but Mr. Whiffen didn't, is meant to look at specific type of data structures called the SQLite database. SQLite databases are very nuanced, and this particular tool allows you to take that database and explore it at a deeper level than the other forensic tools allow. Mr. Whiffen didn't use the Sanderson tool. So here we have Ms. Hyde, and in her report of 5/23, 2024, her first report, and I'm going to get to her report here, she basically goes through and documents this methodology, and she documents the use of those tools. And she also documents that she saw the House Long to Die timestamp 22740 in every single tool that she used. Where she diverted from Mr. Green was her opinion.
Every single
whether
tool.
That timestamp meant the search occurred at that time, or did it occur sometime later? That's an opinion issue again, and Mr. Whiffen agrees in its opinion issue in that regard. So now let's.
Unreal, dude. All right. And another, we had to give it up for a little. Now, guys, I have exhausted my thoughts on this for the day. And I want to thank you guys for joining me, not once, but twice. I know I said I was going to open up the phone lines. I wanted to open up the phone lines, but I got to admit, I'm pretty beat. So I am going to call it a night. But I promise over the weekend, we will do a call-in show. Okay. Just to keep ourselves entertained while we wait for more decisions to come, and for this case to move forward. So, but to do everything I can to just entertain ourselves together, you know. So, but I want to thank you guys so much for joining me, and thank you guys for hitting the like. Please make sure to hit the like. Make sure to share this. If you used to follow me on Twitter, because I'm no longer on Twitter anymore. If you used to follow me on Twitter, share this. And you can also follow me on Instagram. I never really pushed my Instagram account, but I have been this live stream. So yeah, make sure to follow me on Instagram. And I just post kind of bullshit. And then, you know, sometimes I go live on Instagram as I'm walking to or from the gym. And, you know, we just kind of bullshit. So, here's the link to that. If you're new subscribers, thank you guys for subscribing. And I really hope that you're enjoying the channel and that you enjoy the channel moving forward. And to all the people that have shown so much generous support, thank you so much. If you're still feeling generous, any little bit counts. I've got Karen Reed's Defense Fund donation link pinned to the top of the chat. And any little bit helps, because as you can see, it is painfully obvious what Hank Brennan and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts strategy here is, and it is to drain Karen Reed of her funds. It is to chop her legs out from under her. It is to disarm her from being able to protect herself from this wrongful prosecution. That is their strategy. That is their method. And that is happening right now. So she needs all the help that we could give. So please, please, please find it in your heart to donate even just $1. Anything that you can do is helpful. But anyways, guys, you guys are absolutely fantastic. I had a blast hanging out with you guys, as I always do. I want to give a big shout out to all my mods. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you guys for all you do. You guys are fucking beautiful. I love you very much. And we will do this again very soon, my friends.